Back in 2021, the Rodman family gained a new family member. The only problem was Remy was 6.5 weeks early. She ended up spending 45 days in the NICU, which is when the Rodmans turned to the group March of Dimes for help. I'm joined now by Remy's mother, Corey Rodman, who is now an ambassador for the organization. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I know a lot of families go through a similar journey. Our NICU has tons of babies, So what was your story? What happened with you?
Yeah, so I, at 33 weeks and 2 days, went into unexpected labor. Remy is our first, and it was unexpected. Yeah. I went into labor and I had her actually very quick from the time that I was expecting. And we spent the next 45 days in the NICU. And so Remy was 4 pounds and 1 ounce when she was born. And I learned a lot of how much babies develop between 33 weeks and the time that they're actually supposed to come. So we spent a lot of our time. We had some challenges, we had some hiccups, there were some developmental things that we went through. But that's what those 45 days were really full of learning.
Did you feel at all when you went into early labor that, were people telling you, oh, it's probably just Braxton Hicks, it's nothing, or did you know, like, this baby's coming?
My water broke.
So you knew the baby was coming.
Yeah,
you knew.
Yeah. Yeah, and because she was my first, I didn't know. And going into this second pregnancy, I'm like, okay, now maybe I have a little bit more insight into what was happening. I definitely did experience Braxton Hicks. There's a lot of things I thought were just like growing pains. Having a baby and eating a big meal, right? Like all of those different uncomfortable things. But yeah, my water broke, so I knew right away. I was like, this baby's coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, tell us about those days, those 45 days, because I don't know if people understand the emotional toll that it can take on parents. In fact, we have Chris Hoffman here. He's been very open in sharing their journey, but our reporter here at KDKA, he was talking about how hard it is to leave the hospital without your baby.
Yeah.
And I don't know that people talk a lot about the emotional toll that can take on families.
Yeah, so that was the hardest part. Yeah. You think about, as a first-time mom, about these stories of having a baby and having the baby in your arms right away and coming home with the baby and sharing that joy with your family, and we didn't have that. You kind of feel a little bit robbed of that. And that took me personally a long time to digest and get through. Actually, March of Dimes, I say over and over, was really a community for me because I needed that. I needed to hear other people's stories. I needed to know other moms and other dads that went through that because leaving the hospital without your baby and coming home to, you're not pregnant anymore. You're kind of on the baby schedule. We were also in the NICU. At that point, it was like towards the end of COVID, but a lot of COVID restrictions were still in. So my husband and I couldn't be in, when we first met Remy, we could be, but we couldn't be in with her at the same time because of numbers, right? Yeah. And we totally understand the rules that need to be put in place for the safety of the babies, but it was challenging.
Well, and you can't help but think, when your baby's in the NICU too, that you're gonna be able to hold your baby eventually, but like those first few weeks are stolen from you.
Yes, yeah.
Right? And kind of coming to terms with that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned March of Dimes, which is why we have you here, because we want to talk about your role as an ambassador, but really talking about how this group provides support that families need during those first few weeks.
Yeah, so I really learned a lot more about March of Dimes when I had Remy and during my time at the NICU. I used them as a resource. I learned about other families. I learned about really where that money goes towards research, towards advocacy for, the moms and babies. I learned that every 1 in 10 babies is born premature. So now having a daughter that's part of that statistic, it's just incredible to learn just kind of here in our community, right? The babies that are coming in early. So while we were in the NICU, some of that adventure with the March of Dimes, again, was used as a resource, but again, also as that community. I really looked to them, to, the website, to educate myself on what prematurity meant. Like, what are some of these developmental things, and how are they making an impact and kind of giving back to help?
Well, it's just having somebody to call who's been through what you're going through, having somebody to lean on in those situations. The March of Dimes, March for Babies, just took place.
It did.
How was it?
It was wonderful. We were blessed with another sunny day. This was my second year. We were very lucky last year, and same thing this year. I said I got to bring my sunscreen. It was a beautiful day. Families showed up. It was a great time to walk. The trees were blooming and they were purple, so I said there was, in spirit of March of Dimes. But it was a wonderful event, and we're still working towards, so the goal this year is $1 million. We're about, I think, at $850,000.
You're close.
Yes, yeah, March of Dimes is very close to making its goal, but it was a great event.
That's wonderful. And we can't not mention you have another baby on the way.
Yes, another baby here due, we're expecting in June, so.
Do you know what you're having?
We do not.
You don't? It's going to be a surprise.
It's going to be a surprise. So I said, as long as this baby stays put and is healthy and happy, we'll be excited either way.
Do you feel any different this time around? I mean, you noticed.
I'm more aware.
You were more aware.
Yeah, I'm definitely more aware. I would say I'm taking it maybe a little bit easier. If I feel a little different, I definitely have all my doctors to call. I told them, I said, even if you don't want me at the hospital yet, I might be sitting out in the parking lot. You might be waiting for me.
Have the ones stand by.
Yeah, but no, I think it's just really an awareness thing that maybe I didn't have the first time around. Right. So yeah, and that with some extra eyes.
Well, we wish you all the best in these next coming weeks.
Thanks.
And we hope your baby stays put.
Yep, thank you.
You make it till your due date. And we're so glad to hear that Remy is healthy now. And how old?
She was 2 in March.
Wonderful.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Thank you so much for coming in and talking more about the March of Dimes.
Yeah, I appreciate it.